So, Pinocchio, why is Bob Chapek stepping down as Disney CEO? Go ahead, tell him. Tell him he was fired. Oh no, he got us through the pandemic, but now Bob Iger is, uniquely situated to lead the company through an increasingly complex period of industry transformation. Well, public opinion seems to suggest otherwise. Anyway, didn't you experience a $1.5 billion record loss last quarter? Well, we were making lots of money, and then we weren't. But that was just because of the pandemic. Well, what about him trying to block Florida's bill to stop minors being subjected to suggestive materials? Psst, tell him the truth. Chapek's a woke moron. Oh no, he just wants kids to be able to say the word gay. Well, fair enough. But anyway, I have to go. I'm performing my drag act at the local elementary school.
What? You mean publicly feuding with the governor about siding on the side of teachers who want to teach young kids things that they shouldn't be talking about in the classroom? You mean that had a negative effect on Disney's business? What? That's right. Bob Chapek, who actually was, I would say, less woke than the previous CEO, Bob Iger, has taken the fall. Fired. The CEO of Disney has been fired. This is after a year-long stock plummeting ticket attendance, Disney Plus leveling off, and customer sentiment across the board being extremely negative. Here's the thing, though. Bob Chapek is just the fall guy. The reason all these Marvel movies are underperforming, which is also, why that Disney stock is going down, is not Bob Chapek's fault. This was all Bob Iger. And who'd they bring in to replace and fix everything? Well, of course you bring in Bob Iger, the guy. You gotta be kidding me. I mean, this is what I guess you'd commonly refer to as job security. Bob Iger returns as Disney CEO, replacing Bob Chapek after brief tumultuous tenure. Bob Iger is back. In a shocking late Sunday announcement, said it had reappointed Bob Iger as chief executive immediately after Iger's hand-picked successor, Bob Chapek, came under fire for his management of the entertainment giant. Quote, "It is with an incredible sense of gratitude and humility, and I must admit a bit of amazement that I write this to you this evening that I'm returning to the Walt Disney Company as CEO," Bob Iger wrote to employees in an email, which was obtained by CNBC. Shares of Disney, a Dow component, were up about 6% in midday trading. The dramatic upheaval comes 11 months after Iger left Disney, days after Chapek said he planned to cut costs at the company, which had been burdened by swelling costs at its streaming service Disney Plus. Earlier this month, the company's earnings vastly underperformed Wall Street's expectations. Even its theme park business, which reported a surge in revenue, delivered less than what analysts had projected. If only there was some explanation for this. Oh yeah, he went to war with half the country. When Disney stuck its mousy face into the culture war, when they had the classroom legislature in Florida, essentially Bob Chapek got bullied by his woke employees to stick his nose into that and say, "Oh no, we support teachers, talking about bedroom stuff with third graders." That's what, and this is a company that is a theme park for children. Okay. That's what initially Bob Chapek did the right thing by doing nothing. And then he got pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed by 17 of its 100,000 employees, and he crumbled. And then half the country said, "I don't really want to bring my kids there anymore. Hey, how much is it to go to Disney for the day? $100, $150 a head? Nah, I'd rather like spend my money, taking my kids somewhere that doesn't support teachers, taking the parent's position in the classroom." Iger's return also comes as legacy media companies contend with rapidly shifting landscape. Ad dollars dry up and consumers increasingly cut off their cable subscriptions in favor of streaming. Iger will help the company's board develop a new successor, Disney said in a release. Chapek, who was named CEO in February 2020, succeeding Iger, who had previously said he wouldn't return to the role. Shares of Disney had fallen 41% this year as of Friday's close and hit a 52-week low November 9th. Iger had signed on to work as CEO for 2 years. Disney had said Sunday with a mandate from the board to set a strategic direction for renewed growth and work closely with the board in development of the successor. Here's the thing. I'm not going to forget what Disney said. I'm not going to forget how Disney said, "Hey, we think that that teachers should be the parents and that they should be talking about bedroom stuff with kids." I'm not going to forget that. Are you going to forget that? I don't think a lot of people will. Chapek, whose contract as CEO was extended earlier this year, planned a hiring freeze, cost cuts, and layoffs across the company, according to a memo CNBC obtained earlier this month. The internal memo came 3 days after the company's poor quarterly earnings report. Iger, who held the CEO role for 15 years at Disney, had favored Chapek as a successor. The two ultimately had a falling out, and their conflict cast a shadow over the company's future. Chapek distanced himself from Iger with a series of decisions, including his new approach to streaming prices for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Well, here's the thing. You also had Chapek was also criticized for handling the controversy over Scarlett Johansson's pay. Well, I mean, what did you expect? Kramer calls for Disney CEO's firing, says the company's balance sheet from heck must be fixed. I don't really care what Jim Cramer has to say. He's a psychopath. This is their stock. Down from 160 at its peak, it saw prices as low as $86. Now today, it's up mildly, 5 points. It's something though. The thing is, Bob Iger returning is probably because they said, "Hey, Bob, you said that this person was going to be a good leader, and he wasn't." The problem is, I don't really necessarily believe Bob Chapek. I think Bob Iger dipped out when he knew, how the super rich people, they all seem to know when bad things are happening. Yeah, he dipped right before the world locked down. I wonder if he had some sort of insider information. I don't know. I don't know that for sure. It just seems like, he picked a heck of a time to retire. The board has concluded that as Disney embarks on an increasingly complex period of industry transformation, Bob Iger is uniquely situated to lead the company through this pivotal period. We thank Bob Chapek for his service to Disney over his long career, including navigating the company through unprecedented challenges of lockdowns. The surprise change comes at a tumultuous time for Disney. This month, the company reported weaker than expected fourth quarter financials, killing the momentum built up over a strong year that saw record revenue and profits in multiple divisions, including the one that includes theme parks. Disney's theme park business had recovered strongly since the lockdowns and in venues across the world, but the division continues to subsidize widening losses in the streaming video business. The division, sorry. Bob Chapek said repeatedly that he expects the streaming business to be profitable by September 2024. In the most recent quarter, though, it lost $1.5 billion, more than twice the year earlier. The company also cautioned that its profitability target would only be met if there wasn't a significant economic downturn. The first time it has added such a caveat. Disney's stock price reacted positively to the change. Well, I mean, maybe people don't want to pay for Disney Plus because they don't really want to pay for seeing Disney movies that much anymore. I mean, the box office for Black Panther 2 was down significantly in week 2, not out of the line of what phase 2 has been down all year. However, it was down significantly more than the week 1 to week 2 transition from the original Black Panther, meaning that the word of mouth just isn't that good. And that people really weren't saying, "Hey, you should go see this movie," or people weren't really going back to see it multiple times like they had in the previous film. Disney. I mean, I don't really understand how you see Chapek as anything but a fall guy. What you saw in Marvel Phase 4 was not Bob Chapek. That was Bob Iger's vision. That was Bob Iger's decisions. They make these decisions years ahead of time. Like they didn't like think of Captain Marvel. They didn't do the Marvels under Bob Chapek. That was already done years ago. We know what the next 6 years worth of Marvel movies are going to be. It's interesting to me to see this is just I think maybe he leads them to better profits overall. But if you're thinking that this dude is any less woke than the other guy. He's actually worse. He's the guy that hired all these diversity, equity, and inclusion people. He's the guy that really ushered in the MCU. He's the guy that made all these decisions. So I suspect things will get significantly worse for Disney based on this hire, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it, and we'll talk to you again real soon.